Welcome to Rooted in Yeshua. I'm Pastor Robert Lee, and I want to share something that is a little concerning to me about the youth of this world. In an article I read in the Wall Street Journal recently, allow me to read a few snippets of it. In Israel, attacks on Christians are increasing. A lot of the youth, the teenagers and the young and the folks in their 20s are saying it is a religious duty, a mitzvah, to humiliate Christians and spit on them because they're idol worshipers. It says we're supposed to hate them. They're being trained that. And there's been lots of spitting instances against folks and Christians in churches as these gangs of kids roam around looking for people to spit on who are believers. This anti-Christian is certainly, this attitude is certainly bad, and it's certainly from the enemy. And they're being taught these negative attitudes towards Christianity because of the roots of the dynamic between, the Jewish people and those who believe in, Yeshua as Messiah. Allow me to read a little bit more and then we'll discuss. In this reality, whoever is a Christian visibly is becoming a target. And there are a lot of religious Jews who do this, and they're not being taken seriously by authorities. These attackers desecrate Protestant cemeteries. They set fire to monasteries and churches. They've spit on Christians as a custom. They've targeted foreign Christians. They have younger Israelis lack knowledge about Christianity, and they do little. And the little they do often fuels intolerance. They know Christian society mostly through the events of violence in Europe by European Christians towards the Jews and the Crusades all the way to the Holocaust. And they have a deep-rooted fear of Christians proselytizing, witnessing. And so again, on and on. So here's some thoughts on this. And again, we would appreciate your comments. It's concerning that the youth of the world is not being taught the truth. Now, anyone can have a perspective, but one's perspective is not always the truth. Truth is truth. It's not a debate. Gravity works. You can't jump off a building and fly without the aid of many things. But in this case, back to the original root, when the Jewish leadership, not the Jewish people, but the Jewish leadership as a whole, in the Sanhedrin and in the Pharisees and Pontius Pilate and the governor, obviously, and then the priests, they were jealous that Yeshua, was stealing their thunder and taking all the press. He was dominating social media at the time because everybody was flocking to Jesus for what he was offering. And they felt and they knew that from their perspective, which was flawed, that they were losing their hold on the people, that they didn't need all the religious laws. They didn't need all the piety acts of service, which were a lot of times empty in their heart because of the fact that it was religious and it wasn't about the relationship. Jesus brought relationship. He didn't bring religion. He brought relationship. And so, that's important to know. So throughout this dynamic, once then of course, Caiaphas got the crowd all ramped up, and they, kill when they just loved him, 3 days beforehand. But it was all part of God's plan, of course. So in the last 2,000 years since that time, there's been a hatred, which of course is spurred on by Lucifer, by Satan and his demons, because he hates anything connected with Jesus, with Yeshua. We know this. So when I see these things happening, when I watch or hear and watch the history of the world with respect to how the Jewish people were treated, it's all a crusade of death, and it's very, very tragic. I know a lot of people hopefully a minority, are not skilled and versed on the truth of the Holocaust. The images are out there. The video is obvious. It's on the History Channel all the time. It's on the Discovery Channel. It's I've met people who are family members of those who survived the Holocaust and went through concentration camps. All that being said, the Crusades were something I look back was not a fan of, where they're, in the name of the church, they were going around with armies, marching around. Basically, if you're not for us, we're just going to wipe you out. Unfortunately, that's what the Muslim religion did. They went around and said, well, if you don't believe what we believe, we'll just kill you. I know they did that to the island of Crete, where we just were a few weeks ago. And they basically came and wiped a lot of Crete out. And that was very, very sad. So in summing this up, it is important that we love the people who are uneducated and don't know the truth. We need to handle them gently, but be firm with the truth. It's not people who hate people. It's the spirits inside of those people who are deceiving them with lies of the enemy, who are deceiving people. And that, to me, has got to stop. Now, we know as the end times approach, the enemy is going to be lying to the world through his false prophet and through the Antichrist to tell people, hey, he is not, serve my master, don't serve, Yeshua. So very important in that regard. And so stay tuned, stay alert, and watch carefully, because the enemy is seeking who he may devour. The weak people, the weak-minded people, the weak spiritually, he's coming after. So thank you for joining us today. And listen, we love our Jewish brothers and sisters. They're this close to knowing that Jesus was, in fact, the Messiah. So love on them. Shalom.